It is Tuesday and we started the week. And let's take a look at the disclosure. You know the drill, and we'll get to today's recap. My name is Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com. Welcome to today's recap and look ahead. That's what we do. Well, we try to. We try not to look too far ahead. It all depends on the time frame. But came in today after Friday's reversal. Futures were up. So, you know, most times when the futures are up or the market opens up, early strength fades. So today I think most people did fade the first move. There were a bunch of moves today. There was some tactical action, but not every day means something. It's just a day in the life. That's why I try and, you know, have you, and I talk to myself in my own head, net money, net money. You don't have to, you know, do things if it's not compelling or if it's not the right spot or if it's noisy. So, you know, we talked about how 396 to 397 would be resistance, which is right in this area. All it did is get to 394.12. Good. So it didn't even get up to resistance today. And you know, again, most strength was sold early, and you know, even with the oscillator being minus 88, it was hard to hold a rally. So my first opening trade, if you want to, you know, just look at, sometimes you have to look at the more micro just to see. My first was an opening short. Okay, so basically the SPYs opened up, and you know, here was the resistance from the prior day, kind of tailed through it, and then the gap got filled, and then it actually traded below, okay, the low from the prior day. This was 390.36. This was the low from Friday, and then you had the 390.06, which was the low from Thursday. So that was, you know, the key spot. So right here was one low, okay, and then the other low, if you go back a bunch of days, I'm not going to get it, it was 390 something or other. So, you know, draw that in also. They're pretty close, so you could have used one or the other, same kind of thing. So here was, let's see, I'm not going to make this bigger. All right, here was the opening trade, right into resistance, pushed a little bit above, and you could have short reversed that whatever high it was probably a few minute high. And then some things went from green to red across the board. You know, Nvidia went red, AMD went red, Microsoft went red, Meta went red, Apple went red, everything kind of went red. Okay, and then it moved down to here. So what was here? The low. So really right into, I did not buy this first move right here. I waited for an inside candle and then literally went after the SPYs pretty much right around here, right into this red dog reversal. And this happened to be in the first hour, right, of the day. What's this, 10:30? This first candle was 10:25, so 10:30. So right there, in the first hour, you had you know, a low, and then you knew where the two-day low was, right? 390.06 and 390.36, and from there you had a pretty clean move. You know, in 15 minutes it went to 392, $2. That's a decent amount for the SPYs. Then they had an inside bar and went back to the highs of the you know, of the prior of Friday and the highs in the morning. A very likely spot, you know, to sell, because obviously adding to strength just does not work. Okay, or at least you should just do a small amount. So the real calculated play, your entire day could have been right here if you were looking for some kind of oversold bounce and you weren't looking for massive moves and you're looking for a bottom, looking for this. You were just looking for a trade. After 6 or 7 down days, that was one of them. You could have chosen Tesla. You could have chosen anything. All you had to do is map out Thursday and Friday's low. That was the battleground. Reclaimed it. You could have went with 4 or 5 names or not. Who knows? Whatever you want to do. So I got down to very small right here before having to leave. Some guys said, hey, I'm keeping 25% on. I'm putting my stop at the low of the day. They might even still be long the SPYs. That's the real strategy. You put a stop at the low of the day. For me, I think right around here, I said I'm going to use a stop the mid-afternoon low. I didn't want to hold it all the way to the bottom because, you know, on Friday, you saw what happened Friday. Just didn't feel like giving that money back. So anyway, now into the close, we're a little bit above 390. Not a whole hell of a lot to hang your hat on. If you go back here again, but 390.04 was the pivot low. That's why I talked about it. This low here is 390.33. Okay, so in order for this to have kept the pressure on in the morning, which, you know, you had to stay below, get below and stay below, and it couldn't. And now listen, this isn't a blaring candle. This isn't a candle that's saying, wow, the buyers took the ball back. They're in control. My goodness. Granted, still, the oscillator is minus 84, so we could open up a little bit. But same way this morning, we were up 23 handles. I felt no FOMO whatsoever. I was like, I don't care if we rally. I don't care that. More if, you know, maybe we fade and, you know, take a little bit of peanuts that way. So the same little spot you could have done any which way. You know, Tesla went below 266. Okay, this was here, 266.15. This was the low. Made a new low, 265.80. Well, right, 265.80. It did get there. And I was shorted a little bit too. It was like the last to go down. So it went down below. Actually, this, what was this low? It was 265.80, not 18. So it really only made a new low by, I don't know, 35 cents or so. And then it reclaimed it. So if you were in the camp that we were going to bounce, this, you know, it's even so hard to ride them so close. And then it wound up going as high as, you know, 275. And it also reclaimed 269. So you had a double pivot. You know, this pivot right here was Friday's low. So went below this obviously first, went a little bit below that, and then gave you a 4 or 5 point move, which again could have made you your morning. If you weren't focusing on the SPYs, maybe you were focusing on Tesla. If you weren't focusing on Tesla, maybe you were focusing on Apple. You know, there were lots of different ways to catch that move, you know, without having to be in 20 things. And if you look at the overall chart here, all right, so 269 was a little bit more clear cut. You know, went below it and reclaimed it, so I made a little bit of a V, and then went all the way through the highs. So that was a leader. And then it kind of got choppy up here. I played it a few times, it didn't work, but really the play was went below, okay, the 266.10 by a hair. And really you could have been buying right here saying, hey, you know, I missed the 266.15 or whatever that was, and now things are starting to get stronger, let me buy here. And then you had to move when it reclaimed 269 really fast at 271. You could have made a few bucks, held up, and then went as high as 275, right? Kind of where it broke down from here. So it's good to know where resistance is from prior days also. So just giving you guys some 3-minute charts to use, 5-minute charts to use, etc. Because, you know, if you're day trading, those things have been working a bunch. Let's see, Apple. You know, made a lower pivot. Was one of the first ones to come off it real fast right here. Here was like a little red dog reversal low on the 3-minute, and then what was the prior low? The prior low was Apple, because it's what you had to write down. Prior low here was 154.67. This low here was 154.97. So 2 spots to say, hey, maybe, you know, it can get back above for a trade. So go back to Apple, go back here. Here is 154, went below, so this is the prior low, went below 154, whatever that was. And again, we moved back to 156.50, so fucking changed right into resistance and then failed. I made some money as I played it to go green, and then I got stopped out of the rest, I think somewhere in here. When I said if it goes sideways and continues, I don't want to miss that, but if it breaks below here, I'm not playing the cost average game. I'm just going to get the hell out of the way. But right around here was, you know, sometimes it happens in 15 minutes, sometimes in 20, sometimes more. But that was that. So, you know, just some of the usual suspects too. It's like, it's hard to be so, you know, constructive on the market when you have something like Meta, which is supposed to be a great stock from back in the day, which isn't anymore. You know, kind of, it's right. It's, you know, it's not at the lows of the year yet, but 154 and a quarter, 154.85, 155.90 looks damn close, below the moving averages. Tried to rally on snaps, news, whatever that was last week, and it couldn't. Google, still not making it easy on the bears either. Everyone who was wanted to break down at this bear flag to the downside went a little bit below and popped back above. But this to me also is, in jeopardy of breaking this, especially when you go to the weekly chart. If we're going to be down for a few weeks, this it broke a little bit above and failed. I don't know if it's going to break a little bit below and come back in. That just shows how hard it is. But anyway, we'll see. All in all, though, it's got room to the 200-day or lower. A lot of these things are already well below the 200-day. But anyway, not that clean. NVIDIA, no one's in a rush here. But 132.70 is the spot as long as it stays below 143.80. Sellers are in complete control, and it's already made a new low on the year, which a lot of stocks didn't. AMD working its way. It's not at the lows of the year or even here, so if it wants to play downside catch up, be careful. 78.52 is right there. Down 2% again. I mean, I didn't touch AMD or NVIDIA. I just kind of watched them to see a little bit of sentiment if I can get a little bit of a trade in the Qs or in the SPYs, etc. China's top energy firms are sending natural gas to European nations struggling with Russia's supply cuts. MSN. I don't know if that's good or bad. That might help, but anyway, that's AMD. Last real macro pattern was here when it looked like it was a bull flag and it broke. I remember being long in here thinking it was constructive, and then I got stopped out and I haven't really looked at it since. And it broke 91, and now it's going to the kind of the lows of the year. Yes, I'm drinking another green drink today. A lot of broken situations. These things are well off. SPYs are still so off the lows of the year. XBI, not doing anything special whatsoever. Actually closing the lows today. Through this 81.97. So no real reason to be long there. Opened up and fell, and then had some downside follow through, and looks like it's on its way to 78.09 or so. We'll see. Today's low is what? That's from this morning. Today's low is 81.16. I don't know, that could be deemed as decent news. Just saying in general, like so. If you look here, some guys from the Alpha team are pointing out, saying that China's top energy firms are sending natural gas to European nations struggling with Russia's. Boom, this from MSN. You don't see really the SPYs doing anything with that. That might mean some of the narrative of fear out there is if China and Russia are really tied. Will China do what Russia did to the Ukraine with Taiwan? Will China back Russia if they think Russia's going to start losing? But right here, if they're saying, hey, China's trying to help out European countries, maybe it's deemed that it's not totally in Russia's corner. So it's just a little thought as it's 4:30, on September 6th, and nothing's really happening here. If you wanted to put some risk on, maybe you buy some spiders, and feels like if we open lower tomorrow, you'll probably be able to get red to green. If we open up, you have a little bit of head start. Tough to be short here and tough to be long. The oscillator minus 84 after all these down days, it's definitely tough. Here made another lower low. What's this low here? 290.87. That's our new point of reference for the Qs. There you go. Next spot's 288, which is from right here. And this is 280. Not saying we have to get there, but this high here is another pivot, 296.60. this could move lower now. The 8-day has been resistance, rejecting price. So where is this now? This is closer to 301. So these are like your 3 little pivots. Last time we got to the 8-day, got rejected. If the 8-day moves lower, at some point maybe it gets reclaimed, but for now, not a whole lot to hang your hat on. It's a bull. Guys like Redler, you bought, 39.66 for your first tier of your wife's blood in the street account. I did, and I'm going to be very patient before I do another. Very patient. Very patient. So we go to the weekly chart. If you bought 1 tier with me, okay. Remember last time I bought 1 tier into here. Okay, and then when we're down at 36.40, I went to buy the second tier, and everyone's like yelling at me. I'm like, I told you I'm going to do 4 tiers. And I waited. I didn't buy here. I didn't buy there. I waited. So I had to buy on the low of the day. And then I bought second tier. And then I sold that first tier, I think at like 41.30-ish, which netted a good move from here. And then the next one was 42.70, which netted a very big move. So I have the luxury of buying back a little faster. So I did. 39.66 I bring down. Where would I buy more? I'm going to wait. I'm not burning a hole in my pocket. I already netted that account over 12% in 6 weeks of an overall macro intermediate account. So this would be a spot, right here. And then maybe the lows, and then this is 3,400. I don't know. It may get there, it might not. Maybe today was a red dog reversal around 39.03. Maybe not. There is a void here. I'm not doing her account here, or it's got to be extremes. That's what it's called. It's a blood in the street account for extremes. It's not for knickknacks. It's for extremes. Same way I waited when we're 70% off the highs. Everyone's like, "Are you going to use the account?" I'm like, guys, don't let it hurt, burn a hole in your pocket. Even though we did really well twice here and here. So anyway, maybe we can double dip for the entire year, just like. Meaning like trade it, get 10% out, and then I'd love to be able to, I would love to put more to work. Let it come in. But there's a chance we maybe pause here. That's why I had to do a little bit here, just in case the prior breakout becomes support, and we don't get there, and then it puts in a higher low. So we don't know though. Got to figure that out. We don't know. Nobody cares. Today we isolated some of the daily stuff, right? And it didn't quite get to 39.54. The S&P cash. I trade the SPYs, so I do this more intricately with the SPYs. Where to go to, which you now like right this high here was 39.42. So these are your 2 resistance pivots now, 39.42 and then 39.69 and 39.03, 39.06, and today's low is your new point of reference, 38.86. One of the reasons why I just didn't really take, I would have taken some SPYs because of the try, but the reason why I didn't is it didn't like the way the TLTs sold and closed at the lows of the day, and I didn't like the fact that Ethereum that looked okay did a push through failure, and Bitcoin broke 19.5. So all those things are kind of bearish in my head for risk, but we'll see. What do I mean? Well, here, this is Ethereum, pushed above 1631 and looked like it was going to break above this consolidation and failed. That's called a push through failure. That's like a red dog reversal sell. Now what would confirm the weakness here? A break and close below 1510. But that right there did not get, got me more conservative. I'm not in Ethereum right now. I'm waiting. And now this could even be another one of these, where kind of like a rising channel and it breaks to the downside. You have nothing to 1423 and then 1350 and then 1280, etc. Bitcoin is already below 19.5. So some of you guys said, I want to buy Bitcoin. How do I do it strategically? I'm like, well, I said this morning you could buy it versus 19.5. Why 19.5? Because 19.5 was your support of this consolidation right here. This is 19.5. So if you were thinking that it was going to break above this spot and the market was going to be decent, you could be a long versus 19.5. It broke 19.5 and your Coinbase Pro account or Coinbase should have a stop at 19.4 and got stopped out. And now what? I don't know. You had 18.8 here. This is that low. You have 18.6 is this low, and then you have 17.56. Very broken. Then if you go to the weekly chart, it's really a little scary here, right? This rising little channel broke to the downside. Today it got below 1950, and looks like we're going to at least retest 17.6. If it doesn't hold 17.6, there's really nothing until about 13.5. 13.5, and then this is even like 10.2. Now, if this is going to happen, you don't want to be in a rush. And if you think the S&P is going to retest this 3640-ish area, I would think the way Bitcoin's had such relative weakness versus that, break here, another break below 25, rally 2, failure. Maybe it holds to 17.6, but maybe it doesn't. So be careful. My Coinbase Pro account is all cash. And it's still not, it's in pretty good shape. That was the one I used all of my rules for with the 8-21 day. That one, it started with 20 grand and it's still up over 300%. And I have a Coinbase, a KuCoin account that I wired money over from that account as it was doing great. And that's where I have some of my longer term altcoins that I didn't use the 8-21 day because I was up 5, 6, 7x, 8x on them. And I was like, okay, I could hold 25% of it, not realizing that they were going to fall 90% off highs. But you live and learn, nice little education on crypto. You know which ones those were. And I'm still in it. I'm still in WaxP. If you go to the weekly chart of WaxP, or sorry, the daily, we were in this when it was awesome, right? I was in this at 9 cents, all the way to 99 cents. You had all the time in the world to sell that. And then I didn't follow the rules to the downside here because I was like, you know what? Started with 5 grand in it, and then it turned into like 40-something thousand. So I kept the bunch, and I think I bought a little bit more here. Didn't really rally. And I bought a little bit more here, and now I'm kind of stuck in it. So, I'm just gonna let it work its way out. Turned into a Kathy Woods name for me. But anyway, the guys in the actual market, I guess you could have got right back here after that bounce. But people who, are really in crypto, working in crypto, getting paid in crypto, they love WaxP and they think it's going to make it. Some of these altcoins will be zeros. Some of them will be zeros. So you have to, be very careful of saying, oh, well, I sold it at, 70 cents or 90 cents. I could buy it at 9 cents and it could be a zero. Not saying it's going to be. I'm just saying not this one either. Same thing with crypto.com. Wow, this is a little slower again. This we had awesome during this big move. Wasn't that fun back in the day? To 97 cents. And I got down to here too, 25% left after buying it in the 40s and selling it for double. And then, I violated some things here too because I was just up so much money and gave a decent amount of it back. So I'm still in this one. But this looks like it's going below this. It kind of looks like, just broke this little area here. And I don't know, what was the low of this overall big move here on crypto.com? But about 10 cents. Anyway, a lot of them look like this. I think the one that I sold the best was Mana because I bought Mana at 55 cents. I sold some at 2 1/4, sold some at 4.50 and at 6.50. And then I had a little small on and I got stopped out at 2.75 and I never bought it back. So that's why that one worked. I didn't go back to it because a lot of people say it's too expensive and it's not good as like a Gal or any of that stuff. But anyway, got out of Matic really well too. Got out of Luna, fantastic. I think I got out of Luna like 104. But anyway, that's crypto. Again, is this a push through failure right here in Ethereum? Well, if it starts breaking below 1510, that's probably telling you more risk is coming off. But we'll see. We shall see, my friends. And then as far as spies, still where they are after hours. No really anything about what that with China. Get rid of the sidebar. What did ARK do today? Remember ARC had a nice little sequence. Made some good money there, and I haven't traded it once in like a few weeks. I don't think I've traded it since it's broke 49. Could obviously shorted it below the 8 the entire time, but that's not my game, so I just didn't trade it. You know, it's hard enough to trade other things, let alone that. But it's good to have one eye on it, I guess. This low 39.49. So everything tried to do a little bit of a red dog reversal, but nothing really had the power to make it look so decisive. So no true reason to like rush there, you know. We'll see. Now you have another point of reference. Points of reference, right? Points of references are better than opinions. Points of references calculates your risk. Points of reference tells you where the rubber matches. Points of references are what we could hang our hat on as while the TV makes a narrative around the price action. You know, and that's about it. It's 4:42. I think people had a good day today. I mean, this day was like a nothing from nothing. Dow's down 173 points. Qs were weak. Some things, you know, almost made new lows. Some things didn't. If you used Thursday, Friday, 2 pivot lows as a, you know, don't pass line, below your short, above it your long, or just helped you guide your share size, it worked very well today. Because again, you know, you got to know where the rubber match spots are between the computers, so this way you know what it means and how it means it when it happens. And then you have to take your trades, because it doesn't seem like this market is in a rush to go anywhere higher, you know. But again, that changes like that. That's why you have to be on your toes and ready. And then that's what we'll do. So I'm going to post a few charts. I'm going to head home, and then tomorrow morning I'll be back here, 6 o'clock, up at 4:45, back at it. And I got to go in the city midday, so there'll be no recap tomorrow, or there might be a recap from the New York City office if they set up my station the way they're supposed to, so I could trade the close and, you know, do my recap. But we'll see. But I'll be here in the morning. Lots of time between now and then. We'll figure it out. Later, guys.